You know, this never occurred to me how convenient it would be to make a video about these two guys in the same light. Because when it comes to my second and third favorite teams, the Montreal Canadiens and the Detroit Red Wings, this is a fairly easy conversation to have. Let's talk about some prospects taken from the 2023 NHL Entry Draft who happen to be amazing, and who both happen to be NCAA goaltending studs. Because when it comes to Detroit Red Wings draft pick Trey Augustine and Montreal Canadiens draft pick Jacob Fowler, there are two amazing conversations that we can have in regards to both. Now, the easy connection to make when it comes to both of these guys is the fact that they happen to both be goaltenders for Team USA at the World Juniors in this most recent tournament. So just to get that out of the way, nip that in the bud right here, we will say that Augustine and Fowler were both undefeated at the tournament. Team USA didn't lose, but Trey Augustine did have himself the better statistical profile, 936 save percentage and a 175 goals against, versus Jacob Fowler, who had an 889 and a 259 goals against average in those 3 games. But even though you could say that Augustine looks a lot better here than Fowler at the World Junior Tournament, there still are some other great things from Fowler that you could see from the regular NCAA league. But before we go over to that, let's go over the profiles of both of these guys, starting out with the Detroit Red Wings prospect. Trey Augustine was drafted in the second round, 41st overall by Detroit, 6'1", 179 left-handed catching goaltender, 18 years old out of South Lyon, Michigan. This was the third goaltender taken off the board in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft. He was taken after Adam Gajan for the Chicago Blackhawks and Michael Hrabal for the Arizona Coyotes. Augustine was right there in the 41st spot. And for a guy who's suiting up in his freshman year in the NCAA, he's got a 917 save percentage and a 287 goals against in 27 games. 18, 6, and 2 is his record, and he's got 3 shutouts as well. He's been so good that we've made a ton of videos over the past few months just talking about his status, talking about his progress, asking the question as to whether or not this guy has taken over, what it is Sebastian Cossa could provide. In his last 5 games, Trey Augustine has a 939 save percentage, and he's got 2 goals against per game. That is solid. In fact, we also had ourselves a graphic made by the Michigan State Hockey Club in the NCAA. This was posted about 2 weeks ago. Here's some Trey Augustine rankings. As the 2005 birth year suggests, he is the youngest goaltender in Division I hockey. He also happens to be number 1, tied first nationally for starts amongst freshmen. In the Big Ten games, he leads the conference in saves per game with 31.6. So, hey, Michigan State's really giving him a tough workload. He ranks 3rd nationally in shutouts, with all of them coming in Big Ten games. He's also 1st for shutouts in the Big Ten. All 3 of his shutouts have been in road games as well. He ranks 4th nationally in saves with 775 on the season, and he ranks 5th nationally in wins with 16, also ranking 7th nationally in win percentage. So not only is Trey Augustine getting the numbers to suggest a winning goaltender profile, but he's also just dominating the competition, especially as a freshman in the Big Ten Conference of the NCAA. The write-up here on the right-hand side of the graphic says Augustine is boasting a 914 save percentage and 299 goals against, so he's actually improved quite a bit since that graphic was made. And he was boasting the 16-6-2 record in 25 starts as the youngest goaltender in D1 hockey. He has been named to the Mike Richter Award watch list, given annually to the nation's top goaltender. So there you go. Freshman Trey Augustine has gone out there with some incredible growth and progression in this season's worth of play. And the crazy part is, he isn't even the only freshman goaltender in the NCAA who's doing some really good things. Because if you take a look at that Jacob Fowler in the NCAA too, BC boy, 6'2", 214, third round pick, 69th overall by the Montreal Canadiens. He was the next goaltender taken in the third round. So you had Augustine, you had a few other guys here, a lot of goalies actually taken in round 2. And then Fowler kicked things off in round number 3 at the 69th overall spot. But Fowler this year, despite having the inferior World Junior Tournament to Augustine, actually has had better NCAA numbers. A .923 save percentage and a .225 goals against in 28 games played. His record is 22-5-1. He's been so good in his regular league play that it's kind of astounding to really see. Take a look at the NCAA and their overall numbers here, and you'll see that when it comes to each of these two guys, Fowler is a top 10 goalie in the league when it comes to save percentage. Trey Augustine is down here. He's 16th overall. And then if you go over to goals against, you'll see that they're still kind of there. Fowler is in the 11th overall spot, and if you scroll down here, Trey Augustine is 51st, so he actually has been beaten quite a bit. 287 goals against is not the best, but as we had seen in that graphic, he's doing some crazy good things versus other Big Ten competition. Now for Fowler, what makes him stand out is his performance in the Beanpot tournament earlier a few weeks ago, where you actually had yourselves the Spit and Chicklets crew, and in particular Ryan Whitney, go out there and compare Jacob Fowler to Dominik Hasek. Is this the next Dominik Hasek? And this clip kind of went viral. I mean, it has 370,000 views. And pretty much, I mean, Whitney's going out there waxing poetic about this guy, and he makes it very clear in the clip. He says, hey, I'm a BU guy. Boston University is my hometown, so I don't like these Boston College Eagles. I don't like these guys. So for me to be giving praise to one of them is pretty noteworthy in and of itself, and this kid Jacob Fowler is so gosh darn good. He's got to be one of the best goalies I've ever seen in college hockey. Ryan Whitney goes out there and says, so putting all personal boundaries and rivalries aside, that seems like a pretty good piece of praise to toss out there for a young guy. And for Ryan Whitney, I mean, that's a pretty strong thing to say. So I'm pretty sure everybody had themselves this clip pop up in their timelines once in a while if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. But heading over to both of these teams and their organizations, let's finish off the video with this conversation. When it comes to the Red Wings, I mean, look, Alex Lyon is doing his thing in the NHL. He's pretty much the number one guy. Reimer and Husso, I mean, when Husso's in, he's there, but he's not really the best. Reimer has been meh this season. Sebastian Cossa is really like the only guy to be challenging Trey Augustine for number one goaltender prosperity with the Wings long term. And as we've talked about over the past few years, Kossa's been pretty up and down lately. I mean, he had a really bad start to his AHL career, but recently he's been a lot better. So we'll see whether or not Trey Augustine has it in him to pass Cossa one day. As for the Montreal Canadiens, I mean, you've got three guys over here. Sammy Montembeault is fairly young. Caden Primo is younger, but whether or not Primo has it in him to overtake what Montembeault has done, we'll see whether or not that's still possible. Jacob Dobes has been doing pretty alright too in his development, but Jacob Fowler right here is in a group of a lot of other goaltenders like Quentin Miller, Volokin, Kroto, and Verbetic. We've talked about all these guys when they were drafted initially, but Jacob Fowler really is the catch here. He's been so good in the NCAA that it's tough to deny what exactly that profile presents. So at the end of the day, I mean, these two Team USA World Under 20, so World Junior goaltenders, Trey Augustine and Jacob Fowler, have been so good that I thought it was time to go out there and give them their props. And what better way to do so in a video talking about both of them together, because hey, they're part of my second favorite teams. That makes a lot of sense and is very convenient for all of us here. So if you're a fan of the Detroit Red Wings, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Trey Augustine and the way he's developed so far from Michigan State University. If you're a fan of the Montreal Canadiens, what are your thoughts on the way Jacob Fowler has been doing his thing with the BC Eagles? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about both of these guys and their developments. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.